Welcome to Lost Truth. You've only got a few minutes to uncover the truth and figure out which of our three strange and mysterious stories is real, and which one's totally made up. Only those with sharp detective skills and an eye for detail can uncover the lost truth. Stick around until the end of the video to find out which story is fact, and which is pure fiction. Story number 1, Toxic Clown. There's something kids usually love, but most adults find pretty creepy. Clowns. Let's go back to 2003 in Canada, where a guy named Franklin Harper worked as a clown in Alberta. Around that time, several schools were looking for creative ways to bring more fun and positivity into their students' lives. They came up with a unique idea: invite clowns to schools to create a happy, welcoming atmosphere. And who better than a pro like Franklin? With his solid reputation in the clowning world, Franklin was the obvious choice. He was invited to perform at various schools across the region, spreading laughter and joy. Over the course of a month, Franklin visited 13 different schools, performing tricks, playing with kids, and lighting up the room with his colorful costumes. But soon after his performances started, strange rumors began to spread. Many of the kids he interacted with began experiencing sudden paralysis. Slowly but steadily, over just 1 month, 56 children fell ill with symptoms eerily similar to polio, a disease that hadn't been a concern in Canada for years. The situation left the Canadian government baffled. The cases were confined to specific schools, with no signs of an infectious outbreak. Something just didn't add up. The government quickly assembled a team of experts to investigate the schools where the paralysis cases had been reported. They combed through the facilities, checking every nook and cranny for signs of contamination or environmental hazards. But despite their thorough inspections, nothing unusual or suspicious was found in the schools themselves. Running out of options, the experts shifted their focus to the affected children, conducting extensive medical tests. What they discovered was both shocking and alarming. Every child who had been paralyzed had traces of a deadly toxin in their system, botulinum toxin. This is one of the most powerful poisons known to science, capable of causing paralysis through skin contact or ingestion. With this new evidence, suspicion fell on Franklin Harper, the one person who had been in direct contact with all the affected kids. The police moved quickly, arresting him at his home. After several hours of intense questioning, Franklin finally broke down and confessed. In a chilling statement, he admitted, "I wanted the kids to feel part of the show, so I let them wear my clown costumes while we played together. But before each performance, I secretly treated the costumes with the toxin." Just 4 days after his confession, Franklin Harper was sentenced to death. At 43, he was executed in the electric chair, leaving behind a haunting tale of trust betrayed and innocence lost. Alright, before we jump into the second story, here's the deal. This channel is all about giving mystery lovers like you a chance to dive into some wild stories and figure out what's real and what's not. In every video, we bring you 3 mind-blowing tales, and it's your job to guess which one actually happened and which ones are just made up. Stick around till the end, and we'll reveal the truth. What's fact and what's just fiction. So, let's see if you've got what it takes to crack the mystery. Story number 2, the Mummified Dolls. For years, something strange was happening in the city of Nizhny Novgorod, Russia. Graves were being disturbed and bodies were disappearing. No one had any idea who was behind these creepy, unsettling acts. It wasn't until years later, during a secret investigation, that the mystery began to unravel. One dark night, police got a break. They caught someone digging up a grave. That man was quickly arrested. His name was Anatoly Moskvin, but arresting him didn't bring much clarity. Instead, things got weirder. During questioning, Anatoly gave a series of bizarre and unsettling statements. He said things like, "You left him alone in that grave, but I saved him. You didn't deserve him." And then, even more chilling, "No, let me go back to them. They're waiting for me. I need to go watch TV with them." What did that even mean? The police were baffled, but the mention of TV raised suspicions. Maybe there was a clue in his home. When they searched his house, everything looked pretty normal. But as they were about to leave, one officer noticed something odd. Dolls. Lots of them. They were scattered around the house. Curious, the officer picked one up and joked, "What's with all these ugly, creepy dolls?" He shook the doll. Suddenly, a sound came from inside. A haunting, eerie song. That was enough to grab their attention. Now on edge, the officer started shaking the other dolls. One by one, each doll let out the same strange tune. and that's when it hit them. These weren't dolls. They were mummified bodies. The police launched a full investigation. Inside Anatoly's house, they found the preserved remains of 29 girls. Each body had a music box hidden inside, and their eyes had been replaced with buttons. The girls ranged in age from 3 to 25 years old. One detail sent chills down everyone's spine. Anatoly had kept one of the bodies for 9 years. For nearly a decade, Anatoly lived in secrecy. Everyone who visited thought his collection of dolls was strange, but harmless. No one had any idea of the horrifying truth. After his arrest, Anatoly was declared insane and sent to prison. But here's the twist. In recent years, there have been talks about reducing his sentence and possibly releasing him. And that's left many people wondering, should someone this disturbed ever be allowed back into society? Story number 3. Holksbrook Asylum. Talking to genuinely kind and caring people is always fascinating and leaves a lasting impression. Inspired by this idea, a documentary crew decided to film a documentary at Holksbrook Nursing Home. Their plan was simple: interview the nurses and staff, meet the residents, and capture daily life inside the facility. The filming went smoothly, but they were luckier than they realized. The truth behind Holksbrook was much darker and more twisted than they ever imagined. A while after the documentary was done, a nurse named Alicia Redmond contacted the team in sheer terror, revealing disturbing secrets about the place. Alicia, deeply shaken, explained that there was a hidden basement under Holksbrook Asylum, a place of horrors that defied nature. Due to YouTube's policies, we can't get into the exact details of what went on there, as it's just too disturbing. But you can imagine that they tortured many patients down in that basement. Alicia also talked about a corridor where the most dangerous patients were kept locked away. These patients lived in complete isolation, surviving on the flesh of the dead. This horrifying truth left the documentary team completely shocked and horrified. Not long after Alicia's revelations, Holksbrook Asylum was permanently shut down, and the staff faced severe consequences for the unspeakable acts that took place there. Now, it's time to uncover the truth behind these chilling stories. Which one do you think is real, and which one is just a legend? Let's go over each story again. Story #1, The Toxic Clown. Back in 2003 in Canada, school administrators thought it'd be fun to bring clowns to schools to entertain the kids. To pull this off, they hired one of the most famous clowns around, Franklin Harper. But turns out, this was a terrible idea. A few days later, some of the kids ended up paralyzed. After a lot of digging and investigation by the police, they found out Franklin was behind it all. He had somehow made the kids come into contact with a dangerous poison. Story #2, The Mummified Dolls. For years, graves in a small Russian town were being dug up, and the bodies inside were going missing. After countless efforts by the police, they finally caught a man red-handed one night digging up another grave. When they searched his house, they discovered that all the stolen corpses had been mummified and were stored in his home. The man who did all this was named Anatoly Moskvin. Story #3, Holksbrook Asylum. In 1954, a nurse named Alicia contacted a film crew and spilled the terrifying secrets about an asylum she worked at. After her call, the asylum was shut down, and everyone involved in the horrifying events was arrested. You have 20 seconds to decide which one of these stories is real and which is a myth. Remember, anything's possible. Maybe all these stories are myths, maybe they're all true, or maybe just parts of them are real. You can leave your guess in the comments below. But be careful, you might get spoiled by someone else's answer in the comments. And now, the answer? Story 1, The Toxic Clown, was completely made up, but Story 2 and Story 3 were real. Of course, keep in mind that similar events have happened throughout history, like the Toxic Clown story, but our version was fictional and had many changes made to it. We can't show you the photos of the mummified dolls found in Anatoly Moskvin's house due to YouTube's guidelines. However, if you're curious to see what those mummified dolls looked like, you can search this phrase, Anatoly Moskvin dolls. But we can show you a picture of Anatoly Moskvin himself. Here he is. For the third story about the Holksbrook Asylum, there's only one photo available. Besides this image, No other information about the asylum or what happened inside it has been shared online. Let's take a look at the photo together. Alicia Redmond, the nurse who called the film crew and exposed the entire story, is the first woman standing on the left in the photo. That's her right here. And that's a wrap for this part. If you love solving more of these weird mysteries, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and check out the rest of our videos. I'm sure you'll have a blast and enjoy every bit of it. If you have a strange or mysterious story, or want to share a creepy tale, make sure to leave a comment below this video. And don't forget to mention at the end of your comment whether your story is real or not. But if your story is real and you have evidence like photos, videos, or audio to back it up, send them to this Telegram ID. Your story might just be featured in our next video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next episode.